Welcome to Hair Hero, the podcast where we dive deep into the minds of the best in the business to uncover what makes them tick and sometimes what makes them twitch. I'm your host, Ryan Whedon, founder of Masters of Balayage and creator of Masters Academy. Join me each week for impactful conversations with industry leaders, icons, influencers, and trendsetters. Get ready to be inspired, learn from the pros, and maybe even have a laugh or two. Because let's face it, if we can't have fun talking about hair, we're doing it wrong. Let's get started. Welcome, everybody. I'm sitting here with my good friend, Nina Tulio.
Hey.
That's her right there.
It's me.
We have zero agenda right now. We've had a lot of conversations recently. We've picked each other's brains live a lot on podcasts and interviews and on stage. And we're just like, let's just interview each other. Let's just talk and see where this goes. And we always end up with some kind of value, right?
Sure, of course.
Making things personal.
Yeah.
I know our audience is hairstylists. And
Yep.
I always keep thinking about there's just such a lack of confidence in our business, probably just in life, but especially in our business, being in this career where a lot of people grow up, including myself, being told you're just a hairstylist. Like that phrase, just a hairstylist. It's a powerful phrase. And I think a lot of us are wounded by it. It's sometimes to the point of inaction and not really believing that we can go very far.
Right.
Were you ever told that?
Oh, yeah. I mean, thankfully not by friends and family, but by other people or people maybe who I thought were my friends at the time, now that I'm thinking about it, kind of looked down upon, oh, you're going to go to beauty school. Now, I was a techie. I went to Votech. So shout out to all my Votech people who are watching. But I went to Votech, but I did have to go. I had to finish like 250 hours at beauty school. I was a night student. So that was like a double check because I was a night student. And I think there is this misconception that it isn't a trade or it isn't anything special. However, I think that the needle has moved since COVID. Like, I think COVID happened, and then after that, us as hairstylists really started to take back our power. And I think we really started to realize, hold on a minute, we are valuable. We change the way that people feel about themselves. We have so much magic within us to share. And I think because of the need for us during COVID, because people were like, oh, I have to get my hair done, or I just want to talk to my hairstylist, because people share a lot with us. I think hairstylists really have now moved the needle to gaining more confidence. Can we work on it still? Of course. Yeah. Because I think there always is going to be that, like, I'm just a hairstylist undertone, but I think we're moving in the right direction. Don't you think?
I think so. Yeah. I feel like we're a lot more saturated in the market, though. I think there's maybe new things that are challenging us now.
Oh, yeah.
I agree with that. I think back when I was coming up as a hairstylist and people that were close to me were saying, you're just a hairstylist, why don't you go to college? There wasn't a lot of proof out there that hairstylists could actually succeed or go that far because there wasn't social media. This is before Instagram, before Facebook.
Way back in the day.
And I was thinking the other day too, when I was an actor in New York, before I got into hair, phones were just coming out.
Right?
Like,
listen,
phones.
I was on
I had
a pager.
A pager,
the beepers.
And I was so excited when I got my page and I got this 800 number so that people could call me, because I didn't want people to bother me, call me too much.
Yeah.
That damn thing never went off. And if it did, it was like some fax to the wrong number or something. And I'd call, this is the big roll, this is the big roll. And it was like somebody trying to go online and back in the day.
Oh, that horrible sound. That's the worst.
But you're saying things shifted after COVID where, a lot of us felt like we didn't have any purpose, but then we couldn't go get our hair done. We couldn't feel good. When we look in the mirror and we see our hair and it's just long and disheveled and we can't cut it ourselves or color it ourselves. Yeah. Especially the ones that are our trusted gray-haired clients that when that starts to grow out, they lose their minds, right? And then it's like they reach for the quickest box color and then they know they're just ruining it, but they have to put something on it like a Band-Aid and that creates all kinds of problems for the hairstylist in the end. But yeah, I think you're right that there hairstylists can see the potential now.
Yeah.
It's visible that somebody can really start from nothing and create this wildly successful career. I think one of the biggest challenges I see, though, is that it's just, and I know you've seen this too, everybody's a coach now.
Yep.
Everybody's has an
expert.
online course. Everybody's an expert now, or you know, quote unquotes for all these. And some of them will be successful. A lot of them won't. They'll learn how hard it really is to be successful in those fields. But it's probably very intimidating to somebody coming up. What do you think a stylist coming into this industry now needs to know to not just survive, but to thrive?
Well, a couple different things. I think because the way that they're coming out of school now and going into the industry is completely different. I do think that in a lot of ways, stylists are more confident. They do have social media on their side, although social media can be a negative too, right? But I feel like they're out there. They're not afraid to charge. They're, hey, this is my time. I want to make sure that I'm balanced and I'm not spending 7 days a week at the salon. Like, they have a little bit more boundaries, I think. But I think, when they're entering the beauty space, I think it's so important to do two things. A, be flexible. Because what you see, I'm going to say this loud and clear to the camera, what you see on Instagram is not reality. So you're going to have to work hard to create a career in this business. It isn't about getting out of school, working 2-3 days a week as a full-time hairstylist, getting only the clients that you want to see, working only 9 to 2. Like this is not a realistic expectation. Now, I always say you have to scale up to scale back. So you have to work hard. You have to put the time in. You're going to come in early. You're going to stay late in the beginning. Still have boundaries, yes, but you get out of this business what you put into it. So I think be flexible in your approach and not looking at Instagram as your guide. Look at real hairstylists that have done real things. And if they're living the success that you want, do what they've done. Now, don't copy them and take all of their shit. Oh, can I curse here?
Yeah, sure.
Okay.
Shit, fuck.
Shit, yeah. Yeah, like, don't copy their stuff and take their shit. But, like, it's like Tony Robbins talks about, right? Like, when you see somebody that has done something and you want to do it, you got to learn what they have done and you've got to apply yourself and put in the time. The other thing, so be flexible, number one. And number two, do all of the hair. Like, don't get out of school and say, I only want to do blondes or I only want to specialize in this. Do all of the things. Get yourself engrossed in long hair, curly hair, short hair, textured hair, buzz cuts, like do all of the things. And you know what? You may get into it and you're like, this isn't for me, but don't pigeonhole yourself right away. Because I think it kind of takes away from the experience, And again, scale up to scale back. You get all of that experience and knowledge and education, and then you can decide what you want to niche down into. So that's what I would say. But I am curious to know something.
Oh gosh, what?
Do you think social media has helped or hurt our business, our industry?
balayage. It doesn't matter how you pronounce it. Your clients just want to know that you're good at it because they're paying a lot of money for your service. Sure, you can take a class here and there, search on YouTube, learn a hack here and there on Instagram, but it's never going to be enough because to excel at balayage, you need structured learning with experts that have been where you are and can show you how to reach your goals. Hi, I'm Ryan Whedon, founder of Masters of Balayage and one of the first balayage experts to bring modern balayage to millions. And right now, Masters Academy, the #1 online trainer for balayage artists, is now offering lifetime memberships. That's right, no more monthly payments, no more overdrafts, just a one-time payment and you can get over 100 hours of balayage and blonding tutorials on demand to watch and rewatch on your time. Our new Masters Academy lifetime membership also includes our 3 world-famous certification programs, the Balayage Masters program, the Blonde Masters program, and the Extensions Masters program. Not only do you get to own all 3 of these now, you also get get master certified. So if you're stuck, lacking that balayage confidence, or just need an awesome excuse to raise your prices, Masters Academy is the answer. And right now, you can save $100 off any lifetime membership. Just go to www.mobmastersacademy.com and use code MYLIFE at checkout to redeem your $100 off promotion. I'm gonna say it again, so go grab a pen and write this down. Go to www.mobmastersacademy.com and use code MYLIFE and redeem your promotion now.
It hurts our business, I think. It helps if you're focused on the benefits of it. Mm-hmm. If you're focused on the benefits of it as a artist, as a creator, then yes, it's incredible what it can do to put our work in front of the right people if we are focused on that. But goddamn, it's a time suck. It's a time suck, and I find myself scrolling, and I actually was scrolling, and I caught this meme or this post earlier of this guy that I follow, really intelligent guy, and he was saying things you should do and instead of to be more productive. One of them, instead of scrolling for 15 minutes, go write down 3 goals for the day. Mm-hmm. And I never usually comment on posts. And I wrote just something down. It was, in good humor and heart, whatever. But I said, but then I wouldn't have seen this post if I was just scrolling, if it wasn't scrolling aimlessly.
Right? Yeah.
So even that's why you're saying it's not real, because we want those people to scroll aimlessly and endlessly, because they're going to see our stuff. And yes, it might resonate in things, but I think we need to learn as creators and business owners, are we spending the next 15 minutes to waste time, or should we use this to be productive?
Sure.
And if it is to go on Instagram and do research or work, I mean, what are you doing research on? What are those goals that you're focusing on?
Yeah.
Are you trying to get some inspiration pictures to post or comment on or to engage on?
Right.
Because if not, then you're probably just wasting your time, and you should pull out your journal. You should come up with some other ideas. You should read a book on how to scale, grow your business, create a better client experience, something that's going to compound over the years, where you can actually make more money, which will give you more time to do what you want to do. And then you can have that 9 to 2 part-time schedule and make full-time income.
Sure, absolutely, yes, because it's possible, but it's like, I think we want to get there too fast. Like, don't rush, enjoy the experience and give yourself grace. Like, there is a process to it. And so you have to go with the process, and everyone's process is different. That's why the comparison game on Instagram is so dangerous, because I'm not getting enough likes, I'm not getting enough comments, people don't like my stuff. Well, what does that mean about me? And it could be very harmful to our mental health. I've actually had to scale back a little bit from Instagram myself, because it was starting to get too loud, where it was almost like I forgot who I was and what I came here to do. Do you know what I'm saying?
Right.
And I was like, hold on a minute. This is like not me. I'm not showing up and serving the way that I feel is authentic to me, because there's so much noise around me. So sometimes it is good to take a little bit of a pause, but it can be helpful too, where it gives us exposure and it gets us connections like, us, and we get to meet different people and, really help other people. But I think all in moderation. You really have to be smart and intentional. I think that was like a lot of what you're saying. Like, I think we scroll, maybe give yourself 5 minutes to scroll, but then be intentional about the other 10 minutes that you're in it, and how is this going to enhance my business type thing.
Right. Yeah. Like, am I just using this time to escape? Because if you're using that time to escape, then just do it, But don't sit there for 4 hours.
4 hours.
Because you're going to put yourself into this rabbit hole where you're probably going to leave that rabbit hole pretty depressed.
Yeah.
Because you're going to see people doing the things that you want to be doing, living the life that you want to live, taking the vacations that you want to take, having all these great things, and you're going to, it's like sometimes you'll be going through, you'll see a video and you'll be like, that's a great idea. I would love to incorporate something like that into my business. Save it, put it in a folder. But then you just keep scrolling, and then 30 minutes later, you forgot about it. It's sitting there, it's not helping you. When you see something that sparks that creativity, that passion, you need to act on it.
Yeah.
Because most of the days we don't wake up like, yeah, today is gonna be a great day. Let's get, I'm inspired every single second of every single day. I am going to create something wonderful today. A lot of times it's like, goddamn, okay, get up, kids are on your face.
Right? Yeah.
Today I woke up, my son's got a bloody nose, or there's just something that they have to put. I had another thing of laundry we got to do, and you got to make the breakfast. You go through the routine, and you can't just wake up and just be like, the sun wakes me up when I want to wake up, and I go meditate for an hour and a half, and I go straight to the gym and run 2 miles, and
all the healthy food,
and all that is by 6:30 a.m. right? Like
Now I have the whole rest of the day to create.
The whole rest of the day. Yeah, right. I'll work on something, a new project for an hour from 10:15 to 10:45, and I'll go for a nice long walk. Like, things rarely work out the way
that you
plan them.
Yeah, for sure.
I think we need to be resilient. I think that's one trait that we could all really work on. Is to be resilient and be okay and flexible to life throwing curveballs at us.
Pivot.
Yeah.
A good old pivot.
I used to be the guy with 17,000 things on a checklist, and if I didn't check off every single one of those by the end of the day, I would lose my mind. I would feel like I was always incomplete, and I would work until the middle of the morning just to get things done, and I'd wake up early to get things done, and I was burning the candle at both ends.
Right.
And I got to a point where if I'm overwhelmed, or if I have this whole list of things, which there's always a list, but some things will have more weight in priority than something else, I'll say, okay, if it's a busy day or something comes up, or I forgot that you were going to be here today, and
Which you did,
and I had all these other things planned that I was going to do, then it's just like my week, For context, I was talking to Nina a few days ago, and she's like, well, yeah, I'm going to see you on Thursday. I'm like, you are? She's like, yeah, I'm coming to shoot.
You're like, this Thursday?
This Thursday?
I'm like, yeah, in the calendar.
I'm like, all right, this is going to be great. So on days like that, if it's like, I say to myself, okay, what's one thing I can get done today that's going to help move the needle closer to my goals?
Sure.
So it's just one thing. Just get one thing done. It doesn't have to be earth-shattering, but just something that's going to give me that sense of accomplishment at the end of the day.
Yeah, I think it's so important, and I think we're so hard on ourselves. So if the bigger the list, the more the letdown I feel, because there's only so much you can do in the day. And so I love what you're saying, and I agree with that, almost to the point where if I have all the things I have to do, and if I'm like, if I can just get 2 of these done today, then I feel like I did something with my day. So I do feel like lists are great, and we should have them, but we have to be realistic in our approach, and also know that we've got to give grace. Things happen, things come up, phone calls, you got to get a meeting we forgot about. Like, these are just things that occur. A client shows up at the wrong time and day, so now you got to get her in, it just is what it is. But I think give yourself a little bit of grace and just celebrate the fact that you got 2 things done for the day.
So I see. So you had to be one better than me.
I did.
So you get 2 things done. I get 1 thing done.
I got 2 things done.
You decided to, well,
listen,
actually,
it was so intentional. I did that.
So
yes.
tomorrow I actually going to get 3 things done each day.
Oh, by Saturday I'll be on 4. Okay, get ready. And if you don't have 3 things done,
I guess I'm back to my list of 17,000 things up in the middle of the night, and here we go. Yeah. Clock is ticking, Nina.
Nina's on 3. I got to get on it.
I'm curious though. I know you probably didn't do that on purpose, or maybe you did. But
no, I did.
Are you competitive as a person?
I can be. Yes, it depends though what it is. Normally, I'm just a collaborative lover of a person. That's just who I am. I'm a collaborative lover of a person. I just want all the things for everyone. I want everyone to do well. But if you give me a challenge, I will show up at 100%, 150%. And if it has something to do, like if we are gonna run down the street to the end of the stop sign, and whether we win something or not, I am gonna haul ass to try to win. So in those instances, yes, I am. But I'm not competitive in the sense of like, ooh, they're doing that and I have to do, no, my mind doesn't even, I can't even process that, because I'm like, oh my God, that's amazing. Like, good for you, that's great. Maybe it will encourage me to do a little bit more, but I just don't have that competitive edge because I am a collaborative lover.
I think that's actually a good topic to bring up, because Instagram, going back to that, in the social world of not real things, people post their wins. Let's just be honest.
Sure.
It's not like it's fake, but they're posting all their big wins for the most part, and all the great things in their life. They're leaving out all the
The bullshit.
bad shit that's that they're not showing, or what's underneath that smile and happiness that got to that point, and how terrible of a trip it was, but they found this one moment to be like, let's just get an Instagram photo, just force that smile out for the gram. But I feel like with hairdressers today, and whoever else might be on social media in their industry, I know it's predominant with our industry, is that competition.
Yeah.
You see somebody that's doing something that you want to do, and maybe you feel that's another reason why we beat ourselves up, because we feel like we should be able to do that. We should be doing that. Screw that person. I'm going to do it better than them, when really that's not going to help us.
No.
We need to just look at that and be like, okay, well, they're doing something awesome. I need to do something awesome.
Yeah, how can I do that?
How can I do something like that, or use that as even motivation, but not to like get them, more motivation to just like do my own thing and then focus back in my lane, you know?
Well, yeah, because I think people spend too much time over here. Like, if somebody's doing something, they're so hyper focused on what they're doing and what their message is and what their branding looks like and how they're doing hair, that they forget how talented they are.
Right.
And so it does, comparison, we know that is the thief of joy. So we know this already. And if we stay in that space too long, it will just continue to dim and dim and dim our own light. And so it's good to allow people to energize you and inspire you to do things. I get inspired all the time from different people that I'm, in contact with, but I'm inspired and cheering for them at the same time. It's different when you're inspired, but then you're like, screw that. Why do they get to do, you know what I mean? There's a difference there. And I think, that's more of an internal thing, right? And things that because I think we all are continuing to work on each other and we're all a work in progress. But I think being more collaborative is the key. And I love that over the last 4 years, we have become more of a collaborative industry. Like, it isn't about, well, they're over here and they're doing the same thing, so we have to stay apart. It's like, no, we're doing the same thing. Let's come together. So I love that we have been more collaborative in our industry, for sure. Makes my heart happy.
Yeah.
My warm heart.
that collaborative lover.
I'm like, yes, it makes me happy.
I was another thing I wanted to touch on too is you've got your Make That Money online is it boot camp training program?
Course.
Course.
Yep.
You've been doing that for how many years now?
It's been over 4 years since I started Make That Money. Yes.
Yeah. How important do you think it is for stylists, for people in general now, to be focusing on, should I do something digital? Should I create some kind of a book or an information product or something, even if it's not part of the industry? I mean, I was thinking about that because just because we do hair doesn't mean we don't want to maybe talk about side hustles and things. And we've many stories about somebody's side hustle becoming more lucrative and more exciting than what they're doing now. Yeah. I mean, just because you're in hair, we sometimes we lose passion for doing things like that, especially if we get burned out or stuck. How important it is for us to start dabbling into, if you think it is at all, into the digital world, especially with AI now.
Well, I think you have to be passionate about something first before you dive into that area. Again, just because everyone nowadays has a course doesn't mean we're going to have a course too. Because it has to be something special and unique that is going to offer the audience something different, right? Because I can say this, in creating courses now, I started an online membership. Oh my God, it has to be probably 6 years ago at least. I no longer have it because I transitioned it into Make That Money and then Synergy, which is for my commission salon owners. It is a lot of work to create a course, even to create an ebook. Now, I feel like if you're going to start with something and you want to dabble a little bit, like, do an ebook first, because it's a little easier. You have a little bit more control. There's not so many moving parts, right? You just have to get all of your content together, put it in a framework, and then make it pretty and branded, and then you off to the races with marketing it, right? But when it comes to an online course, wow. I mean, we both know this, that there are you first, and I'm in it right now, re-recording Synergy. I want to hide under this chair because I have been working on it for 3 weeks. You're recording it. You have to create the content. Then you have the slides, or you're doing a whiteboard. Then who's filming it? Who's editing it? when are you uploading it? Then if you're on Teachable, Kajabi, whatever, what platform? And then you have to sell the damn thing. So by the time you get to selling it, you're like exhausted. Right. I think it's important if it's important to you and bettering your career. But do you have to have something? Not necessarily. Is it good maybe to have an ebook that's like a freebie to start off with if you are getting in the world or venturing into education, the independent education space? Yeah, you should have something tangible that you can share with people, that you can add a QR code at the end of a class or something, yes. But if you're thinking about doing a digital course, take your time, do your research, and lay it out. Because it is just a lot. It's very rewarding, but it's a lot of work for sure.
Yeah.
So don't dive in head first.
Yeah. And I think just like with anything, if you've got a big dream or something, I feel like the first step is actually just to start getting your feet wet, do something moving toward it. Because I mean, you think like, I want to do an online course. Like you're saying, there's a lot of moving parts, a lot of things you have to put into place. I mean, you and I are experienced at it, and we can turn it around faster than anybody, but it still takes months.
Remember our online live challenge that we did?
Oh gosh, yeah, that was great. That was stressful as heck, and we did this live challenge, and you probably weren't there, and
you probably totally missed the whole thing.
You probably totally missed it. The marketing was shit. Like we just threw everything together. Like the content was really great, and that's kind of the sad thing too. I mean, you can get it now on Masters Academy, which is fantastic. The course
Content's
itself,
good. Yes,
it's amazing. But like, we tried a new way to launch something, and it just kind of fell on its face. And I think it's important to call it out, and it's nobody's fault. It's just you get better each time.
It's part of marketing, though.
Busy in our, you're doing your thing, I'm doing my thing. We'll come together again like we do now, and we'll do something else or do it better next time. And you're never going to be good the first time you do something.
And well, you're never going to bat 100. No matter what. I mean, and we both have been doing the online digital space for years. And again, it's trial and error. Sometimes things work and sometimes they don't, and I think it's good to talk about that, because you're not going to hit the mark every time.
Right.
But I think it's just important to be flexible and pivot. It's like, okay, this didn't work. What can we do differently? What can we adjust? Never do a live 3-day event ever again in life. That's what we're not going to do. But I think it's like, okay, we learned from that. It tested us. And I think, these things are learning lessons that make you stronger. And then you're like, okay, I don't want to do that again, but I can do something different and now I can streamline it.
Right.
So I think there's always testing and there's always learning involved, but don't be scared. Like, don't be scared to do it. Like, we just kind of, hey, it kind of sucked and we just moved.
Screw it, let's do it kind of an attitude.
Yeah, we did that and then it didn't work out, but then we just kept moving. Like,
we didn't give up.
Exactly.
Right? We didn't stop.
Yes.
Yeah, well, it's also like you had mentioned about hairstylists, when you're first getting started, you got to put in the time, you got to, you don't want to niche down too quick, because you might know what you like, but you don't know necessarily what you don't like, and you might like something more that you haven't tried yet.
Exactly.
And that's why it's important to try everything at first. Take all the opportunities that you can. Just dabble in it. And then you can find out, okay, I really don't like that.
Right.
I hate this. Ooh, I love this. I like this a little bit. And then you can start to narrow down on your focus on your niche, so that way you can specialize in. I really like blondes. I really like curly hair. I really like doing perms. Never heard anybody say that, but I'm just...
Either.
I'm sure somebody's there. I'm sure somebody's like, I love perms.
Like, yeah, perms.
Somebody's like, don't tell anybody that I specialize in perms.
I love that.
Because I have all the clients I need, forever and ever.
They're good. That's amazing.
All the blue-haired ladies.
Yes.
Yeah.
Listen, that's what's cool about our industry. We get to pick and choose what we really like, but we have to get to a point where we can pick and choose. Because let's be honest, the advice that I would give for a hairstylist that's 50% booked is going to be different than the advice I would give for someone who's 80% booked. We have to understand, because I don't know if you see this a lot on Instagram, but there's a lot of blanket advice, a lot of blanket statements. Don't pre-book. Don't close your books. Don't do this. Don't advertise your hiring. There's a lot of don't. Well, and some of those things may work well for a business that is 85% booked, really, really in the trench, making money, profitable, and the demand is so high, right? But say that to someone who's 50% booked.
Right.
Don't pre-book. I mean, I think that that's why it's important to understand that just because someone says something is working for them doesn't mean it's going to work for you.
Right.
You have to know your business, and you have to be aligned with your brand and core values so you can make good decisions, instead of saying like, oh, hourly pricing is trending. Let's go on. Let me do hourly pricing. And no shade on hourly pricing. We talked about this.
Right, yeah,
I think it can work well for some hairstylists, and I have some people that love it, but it's not for everyone.
Right.
And if you just do it because it's trending, and you do it because it kind of looks good for the moment, there's a lot of things that go into making your salon hourly pricing. So I think we have to be we have to look internal. You know, I talk about this a lot. Like, stop blaming what's going on out here for what's not happening in your business. Start looking within. Like, we have to start looking internal in our own leadership, in our own systems, in our own processes, in our own finances, right? Because we can't blame Judy anymore because we're not making a profit. It's not Judy's fault.
Judy didn't do it.
Judy didn't do it. No. And look, Judy may be late sometimes. Maybe Judy doesn't show up. But if we don't have a process and a system for Judy, can't blame her.
Right.
We're not, we train clients how we want to be treated. And so we have to take accountability for that.
Right.
So,
the finger's pointed a lot.
Oh, sure.
Right.
Yeah.
I can't be successcessful because of this. I'm not booked because my salon owner. I'm not booked because I can't make enough money because of the area I live in.
Sure.
There are tons of cases on top of that, though, that will prove otherwise.
Yeah, and people who've been doing. I mean, listen, I failed a million times as a salon owner, and was literally in the trench as a salon owner. 90K in debt, broke ass, didn't know what I was going to do. Had a team of people. Moved into a bigger space that had more rent, and I just had to literally, I talked about this at Hero, and I see the mirror right there. I had to look at myself in the mirror and say, what are you doing? Like, why are you choosing these things? Like, get it together. And I think the more accountability we take, the more opportunity we have to get out of the feeling of stuck, because I couldn't blame my team. I couldn't blame the creditors for calling me. It was my fault. I didn't pay my shit. I didn't have money to do that. I couldn't blame Judy, for not showing up, or for showing up and not wanting to get a treatment. Like, I couldn't do that. And so I think accountability is huge in our industry. We have to really start looking at self and everything that you need to grow your business and to become or reach the level of success that you want. It's all in here. And then we can grab and pull from different marketing or techniques or systems, but we've got to be solid within here first, because if not, like me, I wasn't solid within me first. That's why I started making really bad decisions, and I tried to do all the things that I thought I should, or that people wanted me to, or that the salons were doing around me, and I failed. And so that mirror is such a good reflection and reminder of like, hey, you can do this. Like, get your head out of your ass, literally, and start focusing on the things that you know are going to grow your business. And that's what helped me. And thankfully, because I would have lost my business. It was twice that I almost closed before year 5. And when you're an owner and you had a salon, when you have employees, that shit is heavy. It's a responsibility. Like, you opening your doors, they're feeding their families with that. They're putting money away for mortgages and rent and children and colleges and just everyday living. It's such a huge responsibility. It actually still messes with me a little bit. Like, it makes me emotional because, like, I would never want to disappoint them. So I had to make tough choices for me to do right by them because they chose to work for me. Like, I would have felt horrible if I couldn't have gotten us out of that. So I had to really do some deeper work.
So the employees are real people?
Yeah, of course.
Okay.
Yes, of course. They're not imaginary friends.
They do have lives outside of work?
They do have lives outside of work. Absolutely, yes. Yeah.
What would you say is one of the biggest challenges that struggling hairstylists are having right now?
I would say, well, if it's salon owners, it's hiring.
Okay. For
sure. If it, hairstylists, independent commission, owners all in general in hairstylist land, I would say, I would say we still have a lot of pricing issues. We still have a lot of undercharging. We still have a lot of, let me go on a Facebook group and see what they're charging, and let me, the salon down the street looks good, so let me, there's a lot of that
Piggyback off
still.
that
Yeah.
and try to get behind it.
Yep.
Right.
I think there is a lot of people working over 40 hours a week because they have to pay the bills. And if you are working over 40 hours a week because you have to pay the bills, you're undercharging.
Right.
There's no reason why you should not be able to work less than 40 hours a week. I like a 32 to 35 hour work week, that you shouldn't be able to live the life that you want to live. So I think overall pricing is just, and we've come far, but I still think that we get sucked back in sometimes to like, oh, she can't afford me today. Or I feel bad because she's going through a hard time. We really want to set up ourselves for success in that case because people are having a hard time.
Right.
We want to lead with empathy, but we also want to have maybe an options menu that's already based on price per minute, price per hour. So I just whip that thing right out of my back pocket and say, okay, Kelly, it's okay. You can't afford to do your full balayage today, but let's do a partial. This is what it's going to be. This is what it's going to look like. How do you feel about that?
Here, it's on a menu.
Yes.
The menu, you create a menu or something, guidelines that you can stand behind. It's like, it says it right here, so I can't change it. You know?
Yeah.
I'm not going to be like, well, Judy, Judy's, please, can I do it a little bit cheaper?
Right.
Okay, just today we'll go a little bit cheaper. If they can't afford you, they can't afford you.
Yeah, and that's their choice. Like a lot of us
it's a luxury service.
Yes.
We like to think it's like this necessary thing that we have to have, but nothing is going to happen to our physical health if we don't have a haircut. Maybe mentally, or it might affect us if we haven't had a haircut in a while, or hair color, the grays are coming out. But it's not a life or death situation.
Right.
It's a luxury service. Somebody will be able to cut that person's hair or color that person's hair for cheaper.
Yes.
Guaranteed.
Very true.
But if they want to get a quality service, and if you're somebody that's going to give them a quality service, and not just the service, the experience.
Yeah.
I think I've noticed a lot of stylists fall back on skills, and they just think their work is completely representative of the prices they should charge. We need to move away from, yes, you got to be good at what you do, but that's the baseline.
Right.
When a client comes in from the first interaction to the follow-up call or follow-up text, which you should be following up with every one of your clients the day after to make sure they're happy and liking it. If they're not happy, that's a great time to connect with them and get them back in and fix anything before they go to the Yelp page. The entire experience is what's valuable. That's where the price comes in. And yes, the service is a given.
Yes.
They have to have a good haircut. They have to have a good color.
Right.
But are you just rushing through them one after the next? Or are you making them feel safe and comfortable, enjoying the experience? They're not there all day, like in some kind of a factory line, just waiting to get their haircut. And even it could be the best haircut on the planet, but if they didn't enjoy being there with you, they're not going to see the value in a high price.
Absolutely. But I think the service still continues after they leave. The client experience still has to continue after they go. Like you mentioned, are you reaching out? What does that look like? Are you writing thank you cards to them, sending them in the mail? I know that's old school, but people love that. I've been doing that for 30 years. I mean, I started doing that in 1996 or 97 when I got out of school with the first salon I worked at. And I think, are you keeping in touch with them? Email marketing? Are you sending them tidbits, tutorials, like once a month even, just to stay in front of them? But yes, how was your service? How can we serve you better? Right. Feedback forms, sending them out to your current clients once or twice a year. Like, we really have to nurture the relationship after they leave. It doesn't just stop once they leave the door. They leave the door. It has to be more engaging afterwards. That is next level client experience.
The first time I did that was it was actually my second salon job. First salon job ever was Supercuts. I worked there for a little bit because I wanted to get started in the hair industry as fast as possible.
Yeah.
I didn't have time to assist. Financially, I just couldn't afford to take a job as an assistant for 2 years. That's typically what the programs were back then in the early 2000s. And so I'm like, what's the fastest way I could kind of fake my way into a high-end salon? I needed experience right away, real world. So I looked into who's got a quick training program that'll get me on the floor, get me doing hair, cutting, whatever it is. I just want something.
Yeah.
Supercuts. 2-week training program. I'm on the floor doing 15 to 20 cuts a day.
Yep.
Boom, boom, boom. Yes, it was mostly hair cutting, but it was something. It was my hands in hair with real people.
Yes.
That experience, and I'm practicing doing color on the side. 3-4 months later, I went into this high-end salon and I said, hey, are you hiring? And yes, and I did an audition and did a pretty good job, and I got the job. I mean, I was good enough to get a job there, and I went from charging $12 a haircut to $70 a haircut in a matter of months there.
Yeah.
And then it leads me to, once I started to get clients that were fed through the salon, I wanted to build up my clientele faster and build that rapport to get the referrals. So I was reaching out to my clients, and the first person I reached out to, this one client, it was a male guy. He came in, gave him a haircut. I texted him the next day. Sorry, I didn't text him. I actually called him. I called him, and he's like, hey. I'm like, hey, this is your hairstylist. He's like, who? Like, your hairstylist. You came in yesterday. He's like, oh yeah, hey, how you doing? I'm like, I'm good. I just wanted to check in and see how you're liking your haircut. If there's anything you need adjusted, let me know. He's like, oh, dude, it's a great haircut. It's one of the best I've ever had. Sorry, this is just so weird. I've never actually had a hairstylist call me before to check out my hair. He's like, dude, keep doing what you're doing.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I'm like, cool. So he sent me friends, he sent me
nice.
people. And it wasn't just him, it was something unusual that was that extra personal touch.
Yes.
And we can't just give them the personal touch when they're in the chair.
Right.
It's like got to extend beyond that. And yeah, it changes everything. Think about, you go to a service, whether it's to get Botox or whether it's I go to a chiropractor down the street. Awesome dude. Every time after my appointment, I get an automated text that says, if you love this service, go to Yelp and do this. It's automated, it's generic. And I'm just like, yeah, whatever.
Right.
I love him.
Yeah.
If he had reached out, and she's like, hey, Ryan, it's me, your chiro. I just wanted to say I would really appreciate if you have any time today to go on here, give me a 5-star so I get more clients like you.
Yeah.
I'd greatly appreciate it. I'd be like, I would do it right there on the spot.
It's more personal.
Yeah.
And I think that's what sometimes we miss that mark because we're just so busy doing.
Yeah.
Because we were so busy trying to make money. But the more time that you spend on the little details, the more money you will make.
Yeah.
It does take a little bit longer. You have to set a time
Something
aside.
should be automated. Like, you shouldn't call everybody before their appointment.
Yeah, and I think calling people too now, like, we're not.
Yeah, nobody's
really,
going to answer the phone.
Yeah, no one's answering.
But texting
Yes,
is
boom.
the way
That's
to go.
like, and it could be very personalized. You can change it. Like if they're talking about vacations, maybe not a lot of people are doing handwritten thank you cards anymore because they're doing a lot of texts and emails. But I love the personal touch of that.
Right.
And if I go to a new spa and they sent me something like that, whether I go to a new spa or what have you, and I'm like, this is amazing. And I am more energized to write them a review for sure.
Absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely.
I just got to tell you a quick pricing story before we sign off here and do other stuff that we're going to do today here. You're going to, whatever. But when I had zero confidence when I first started doing balayage. There was like no training out there. We didn't have like the programs that we as a company like provide now. And I wish I had something like that.
Yep.
Just bits and pieces I picked up from a stylist here and there, or YouTube video, grainy YouTube video somewhere. I used to charge my clients based on the end result.
Yeah. Oh, so I got you. So like Barbara turns around and she's like, and you're like, it's only going to be $100 today. I told you it was going to be $200, but it's only just by your reaction.
There were times I'd be like, how's $20?
But you're saying then you think that her hair looks like it's worth $20.
I know. I'm just like, just don't tell anybody. Just don't tell anybody I did it. And then when I started to hit it, 100 out of 100, I'd be like, 350.
You stand tall, shoulders back. Like, I think we've all been there where we either have a threshold. Right. Like, I had a $200 threshold in my salon. Like, I'd start to shake. Like, I would get so nervous. Like, if I had 205. Like, I could barely, get it out of my mouth, right? And a lot of times we'll turn it over to the assistant or receptionist to take care of that, right? Because they just say, and they're cool with it.
Right.
But we're so emotionally tied. But I think the more confidence you have in self, the more value that you see within you, and you're not pricing based off of result, because sometimes people just aren't excited Like they just are not excitable people. And I've done it before too, where someone turned around and I'm like, you don't like it? Like, are you okay? They're like, no, it's great. I love it. And I'm like, are you sure? And then you get to the desk and you took $50 off because we start to gauge it off of their reaction. But when you get more confident, more skilled, you know, yes, we want to pay attention to the reaction because that's just, we have to be in tune like that. But we're not going to decrease our own value because Barbara's not having a great day.
Stick to the script. Stick to the menu.
Yes. If it's $250, it's $250, whether she's happy or she's sad. Now, if she's crying, now
that's
what,
different.
right?
If you actually broke her hair off because you processed it for too long,
That's so different.
Then that's a very different story.
Absolutely, yes.
Then you blame somebody else.
We're running out of people to blame.
Yeah, I know. Well, thank you guys for joining us today. This was always a live, enlivening.
Vibrant
Gotcha. Chat as usual. But yeah, let's go. And
thank you.
Be bold, be brave, be you.
Thanks for tuning in to Hair Hero. If you enjoyed this episode, please leave us a 5-star review. It helps us reach more listeners just like you. And don't forget to screenshot this episode and share it on Instagram, tagging us at Masters of Balayage. We'd love to see your posts and share them. Until next time, remember, be bold, be brave, be you. See you in the next episode.